Hey guys, what's up? This is Art from Techno Guy. Today I'm going to do a micro session. This is in continuation of a video I made prior, which was building out an expense table to have all these different entries of expenses, and at the bottom of the screen calculate the total. So I'm going to stretch out another smaller segment of that on things I need or components I need in that application. But this can obviously be used in lots of other things. It's one of the fundamentals if you're building inside of Power Apps. So I'm going to dig right in. I'm going to go back to my application. This one is part of a little application I got called Fin Fighter. I'm going to go in and edit. And by the way, Fin Fighter is a financial fighter. So it's just keeping track of my bills, a little budgeting program that I'm working for on the side. So we'll use it as an example and we'll wait for this to build out. Okay, so you can see I sort of already got some things going on here. I have some expenses on the other screen. You can see the details. You can edit that screen. I got an edit screen for it. This is that budget screen that I was telling you about that we're gonna go back to in the video that I was talking about. But right now where I'm at is I need to add a form to be able to create this data source right here called expense names. And the reason I'm doing this is expense names is linked to expenses, right? Because you can have one bill name or one expense name that has multiple payments over a period of a year, right? So that's why I link these tables rather than create duplicates of the same name of this bill over and over and over. You create a new table, a lookup table, and that's usually a sign that you should create a lookup table is when you are starting to repeat data over and over again in your database. And I explain more of this in the other video and another video called Relational Databases. So if you get a second, check it out. I'm going to continue to try to keep this short. So what I was in here doing is I created a blank screen. I called this screen Add Edit Expense Screen. I'm going to expand this for a second. And what I did is I added a form. Now, depending on how if I go back here to File, and then I go to Settings, and I go to Display, the way I have this set up is I have it set up for a phone. You can play around with the orientation. I'm going to do another video on orientation and screen size and responsive design and all that. But what it is that I'm trying to accomplish here is I want to be able to do this from my phone. If I get a new receipt from something, just take a picture of it, add a category to it, and then be on to the next. But you can change it, obviously, landscape. You can scale to fit. But right now I have mine portrait. It's set to display in phone screen. So when I add a form, what's going on here is these words come in really big. I don't need all that. This is all just customization. But what I've been doing is, I went, created a new screen, and then click on the screen. I went to Insert Forms, and then I went to insert an edit form. And when you do that, what it asks you is, it says, hey, there's no data in here. You want to connect some data. Over here on the right hand side, you see data source. I selected expense name. Once you do that, you'll get this pre-populated field. Forms does a lot of the mechanics for you. It'll just slam whatever fields are in there. You might need to add some fields, so if you go to edit, you can add a field. These are all the columns that you have in that data table that you created. In this case, it's expense names. There's more. So if I wanted to see inside of this form, I wanted to see the billing cycle, I would click this, click add, and then it'll pop up on this form. So later on we could go back and edit once we're running in production mode. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. That's what I did already. You see here. So what I've been going through and doing is I've been shrinking these names down. You see, and then I missed this one. this is height, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get everything uniform. So I'm going over to the right hand side, I'm selecting height, and then on to the next, and then all I'm trying to do is get this nice and clean, so when I hit play, if I have data in it, everything will be smaller. That's all I'm trying to do here. And then right temporarily what I'm doing is I'm adding in borders just to get my spacing right, and then shrinking this down. And the reason I'm doing this is I just want to get everything tighter on the screen, because there's a decent amount of information we're going to have to squeeze in here, and then also some buttons to add to the record sets, or some record sets to add to the table, and then be able to see it on another table, which I'll show you here in a second. So I'm going to continue to format, and all I'm doing is I'm going to, well, I'll expand this form for now so we can see more. But what I'm trying to do is I'm selecting on the label. I'm going to font size. I'm going to say I want you to be 12. And we'll make it bold. And then the height should be 32. I'm going to add border. Right now it was set to 0. You won't see it. If I put it to 1, it'll be line 1. And then I'm just doing that for spacing. I'll go back and probably take off the outlines. Okay, but I'm doing the same thing for the actual fill where we would enter data. I'm saying 12. And then I'm going to make the height 32. Shrink it down. And I believe that's it. So this is everything I have in the form. Now it's looking a little cleaner. Another thing I wanted to point out is, say like I didn't want to see create by, or the created by here. Actually, I don't want to see this at all. I know that it's only me or my wife that's going to be entering these in, so I'm going to get rid of this field. I'm going to select the form again, make sure I got it selected, and then I'm going to go back over here to the right. I made a mistake. I want to know the date I created this, the creation date of this bill, so that I sort of have a date of when I started an account. So I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to add a new field. And apparently, okay, I would add a new field. And created by, modified by. So you can get pretty intricate. So if there was like, you needed to know who the last user was, you can add these, and it will tell you who was modified by. That's pretty helpful too. Okay, so I already added this in here. I overlooked it, but it was created on. And if I needed to make some more changes, you have properties here. I won't get into that now. This is all sort of set up by default. And then I'm gonna go. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select this field, and you'll know because you'll have the whole thing outlined, and you'll see this 4-way arrow. I'm gonna go ahead and move it down. Yep. And sometimes it'll get a little funky inside the form here, so I just sort of did a reverse on this one. Okay, so then what I did here is, okay, I got everything nice and clean. Now I need to make the button. I'll do it again. We're gonna go up to insert. I'm gonna make sure I'm selected in the actual form, or selected on the screen, not the form. I'm gonna add a button, and we're gonna say edit expense. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to shrink this down. 12. You know, I'm going to clean it up and make it smaller. Everything smaller. We edit. And we're going to do another one that says add. And then all I'm doing is I'm copying and pasting it because I already have the format, so I don't have to try and resize everything again. And let's say this one's add, and then we'll make it so we have one more, and it's going to be save. Okay, and then what we're going to be doing here, what makes the magic for the buttons is it's going to be on select. So each item has a whole bunch of different properties. For now, we're looking at the on select, and right now it's set to false by default. What we're going to do is we're going to say edit form, and what I'm doing is I started to type it, and then you can auto select things. As soon as you hit enter, it'll punch that in, because Power Apps is smart enough to know what it is you're trying to do. You have some IntelliSense here up on the top, sort of walking you through, or helper text walking you through what it's actually looking for. The Power Effects language is looking for. So right now the edit form, it's like, okay, well, what are you trying to edit? And we're gonna look at the form, and we're trying to edit the expense form. So select that, and then you'll see Power Apps highlights it, sort of tells you what it is it's trying to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and close it. Now, if I was to click this, it'll put it in edit mode. This one will we'll make this one add. So I'm going to say new form, and you guessed it, expense form. Close that too. And then for save, we're going to say submit form, expense form, and close that as well. But we're going to, for this one, we want it to let us know that it saved the record. So I'm going to shift enter, and I'm going to say notify expense saved. Okay, and then that's what I want it to say, and then the notification type is going to be success, and then the next thing is going to be the number of milliseconds. How long do you want that little status bar to explain that, or the notification bar to pop up? And it's doing it in milliseconds, so I'm going to say 3000, which is 3 seconds, and then close the bracket. Now let's test it out. We're going to add. Okay, so now we have this. We're going to say new bill. The expense is a test. The expense note is a test. The office number is 8675309. Give you a hint on my age. And this, I think we have set to default to just put today's date. And then 123 Main Street for the address. And then we're going to click save. And then voila, we have the bar right here up, and then it's complaining about we need to enter a date. And I'm going to click cancel. Okay, I don't want to have to enter the date every time I put in a bill or add a bill name. So I'm going to close this out, and we're going to go back, and we're going to say for default, the default date is going to be today. Go to advanced, unlock the property. Oh, it was that little colon thing. I didn't even see that. Okay, well, you're watching me make mistakes on here. I'm not claiming to be perfect. I'm working through them. I am like a bull in a china shop, but I promise I will get the ball to the finish line. I always do. I've been doing it for 19 years, and we'll muscle through this together. So what I did is I added today's date as a default. We'll go back into, I'm going to hit the play button. We're going to preview it by hitting F5 or hitting that. and then we'll go back to where I was. We're going to say new test. I'm going to say new bill. And test. We got the number, we got the fax number. It picked today's date now. Okay, now we're going to save. And that should write it to the record set. There we go. Let's test our add button. Okay, cool. Now we're going to say water bill. Expensive. And I can't type neither. Need to get more caffeine. And then 3 today's date's automatically selected. 1, 2, 3 main. And then we'll click save. Now, if I go back to the tables, I'll close out of this. If I go back to the actual data tables, these things right here, I'm going to go back to the home tab. Okay. And then I'm going to look at, it'll bring me to tables. I'm going to look at expense name. When I look at the data, voila. This is what was going on in the background. Okay. So, if you're going to recreate these forms, here's one of the caveats. If you're going to recreate these forms a lot and there's certain fields that you're trying to see, and when you go to, add a new form and you go to select data source right here, what you can do is you can select views and you can create a custom view. And you'll see here, this is a view, and right now it's only showing 2 columns. I can go here, say I want to change this view, and I can add columns. And the nice thing about this is once I get these data columns the way I want to see them, or the data that I like to see when I'm working with my application, I can save it, then publish it. Once I do that, next time I come around here and use that data source, I can go and say expense name, and then you'll see another column that's views, and you can select the view to be active or whatever it is that you named your view, and it will automatically populate those fields in here instead of going through and manually adding those fields. That also helps speed up some time. So that's my last takeaway. I hope this helped, guys, and I will start another piece. For this being short, it ran 20 minutes. I'm trying to see if we can shrink these down even faster, but I think we're going to start missing things. I will try to clean up my videos a little bit more, but I hope this helps. Stay tuned. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. Hit a like button. Please feel free to comment. Help me by asking what it is you're trying to see, ways I can improve. I'm always open for some constructive criticism. And have a good one, you guys.